History will record this period as one of deep pain and suffering, coupled with uncertainty and fear. But it will also record the heroes of today, the first responders, the nurses, the doctors, and those who care for their loved ones who are sick and at home. They faced a monster that swept across borders with impunity. They were alone, initially. Before this happened, and while the COVID-19 crisis was unfolding in China, in January 2020, I traveled to the Far East for the trip of a lifetime. As I entered Cambodia to visit the sites that I had dreamed of, I was struck by the emptiness of the streets. There were few tourists. The glorious ruins of Siem Reap were deserted. The fabled Ta Prohm Temple, inspiration for the mythical Temple of Doom, was left unattended and enclosed only by the roots of giant trees. There was fear in the eyes of everyone in the streets. As I walked the streets and ate in the deserted restaurants, it was clear that this part of the world knew a storm was coming in the form of a dreaded pandemic. I was certain America needed to awaken to this growing crisis, seemingly far from our shores and national consciousness, but clearly heading our way. I returned to the United States and immediately contacted Jim Greenwood, the CEO of the Biotechnology Innovation Organization, or BIO. I was in my 8th month as chair of BIO and was anxious to know what steps BIO was taking to organize an industry-wide response to COVID-19, though it was still thought to be far offshore and not yet a threat to the world. I asked Jim to determine what our colleagues were doing. Hearing that there was no industry-wide coordination, I recruited Dr. George Scangos of Vir Biotechnology, a deeply experienced scientist and leader, to chair BIO's COVID-19 efforts. Jim, George, and BIO galvanized an industry-wide effort whose story will be told in this book. This book is the opening chapter of a story of how the biopharmaceutical industry, both large and small companies, rose to battle the COVID-19 virus. It is told by the leaders of that industry in their own words. The industry has been built over more than 40 years, an ecosystem of scientists, entrepreneurs, doctors, investors, venture capitalists, analysts, media, and bankers, all committed to advancing global health. In 2 months, leaders and tens of companies from this ecosystem pivoted from the work they were carrying on pre-COVID-19 to face the virus. We are in a battle that pits viral biology against human intellect and capability. It's a battle that has been waged before. In the Middle Ages, the Black Death brought Europe to its knees. In the 16th and 17th centuries, smallpox devastated the native inhabitants of North and South America. In the 20th century, the Spanish flu swept the globe, killing millions. And in the 21st century, SARS, H1N1, and Ebola reared their heads. COVID-19 was a crisis anticipated by many, but one for which we were inadequately prepared. That has led to an unnecessary catastrophe. Against this backdrop, it is heartrending to see the devastating and capricious effects of this virus as it kills and injures its victims, upends economies, destabilizes social discourse, and engenders political polemic, enabling those with questionable motives to push aside science in the interest of politics. The result is global dislocation and a break in the pattern of all our lives. Now is the time to shine a light on those who bring hope that we will push back the virus with science and medicine. My optimism that we will succeed is born of the conviction that the biotechnology industry has been indirectly preparing for this moment for years, and now it has stepped forward voluntarily in a massive effort to confront and turn back the virus based on rigorous scientific and medical practice.